This is TikTok's last day. This could be my last video. A little while back, I did a video titled DEI. I don't know, about a month ago maybe, but I simply asked a question about what is DEI, and then it's in the name: diversity, equity, inclusion. Now think about it. The name is self-explanatory. It explains itself. So the people that are against DEI are telling you blatantly to your face, no, we're in power and we don't want to surrender control and we want you to stay in your place. That's essentially what they're saying, because no other explanation that they're going to give you makes any type of sense or is relevant in the sense of why you would be opposed to DEI. Okay? There's no other way to frame it. There's no other way to look at it. So just understand that when they try to explain their position. Now, I encourage people to be as open-minded as possible. Don't be closed-minded. We all have our biases and everything, but hear them out and to the point where it stops to make sense, where it no longer makes sense. And for me, it's as soon as they open their mouth, it no longer makes sense. So when you are opposed to DEI, you're basically just saying, no, I'm not for diversity. I want it to be all white. I don't want any inclusion. I just want it to be us. I don't want equity. I don't want you to have anything. That's essentially what you're saying. And they can try to dress it up. They can try to change the language. They can try to bullshit you any other type of way they want to. But for the smart ones, for the ones who are smart, you understand they all have a specific play on words that they use. Like, it's just a new buzzword. DEI this, DEI that. Again, whether it be the last video I make or not, when someone says they're opposed to DEI, or when someone shouts DEI, because I'm gonna be honest, man, I don't hear no black people talking about DEI in terms of unless we're talking about it like I'm talking about it right now. No one brings that shit up. You know, who wouldn't, in a society, who doesn't want to feel included? Hell, even introverts want to feel included to a certain degree. They want to be left the fuck alone, but even they want to be included. Like, hey, you know, I'm still a member of society. You know, hey, you know, I can't speak for all introverts, but yeah, that's what it is. You just opposed to anyone that doesn't look like you. And I challenge anybody who sees this video to change my mind. Welcome back to the channel. Now, first question of the day. What is DEI? What is DEI? They talk about it all the time, and a lot of people have these mixed up notions about what it may or may not be. Well, I'm about to tell you exactly what it is. DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's a framework used by organizations to promote a more fair and welcoming environment for all people. Here's a breakdown of each component. Diversity. This refers to a variety of differences present in a group of people. These differences can include race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, age, religion, disability, socioeconomic status, and more. Equity. This focuses on ensuring fair treatment, access, opportunity, and advancement for all people, while striving to identify and eliminate barriers that have prevented the full participation of some groups. It recognizes that different people may have different needs to achieve equality. Inclusion. This includes creating an environment where everyone feels valued, respected, and supported. It's about ensuring that everyone has a sense of belonging and can fully participate. In essence, DEI initiatives aim to create workplaces and communities where everyone has an opportunity to thrive regardless of their background. That's all it is. So after seeing that, that's what DEI is. So what's all the uproar? What's all the backlash? Well, it's like I said in the TikTok I did. Basically, it stems from people already in control, people already in power and not wanting to relinquish said power. They don't want to give their power up. Why do I want to let you in the room? That's essentially what this is. So it's basically just blatant. It's blatant. It's racism. It's racism's newest blatant tool. Just change the language, we can still get the same result. Change the language, we can still get the same result. That's exactly what's happening here. And anyone trying to tell you otherwise is being disingenuous at best and lying at worst. All right. So now that we have the clear-cut definition of what DEI is, I started looking into what are the roots of DEI? Like, where does this come from? Yes, the terminology DEI is new, but I think the core, the cause, has always been around. We've always had to fight for justice in this country as people of color. It has never been granted to us. It's never been given to us. Hell, nothing's been given to us. So I started looking into the roots of it, and this is what I found. Roots in the civil rights movement. The foundations of DEI can be traced back to the civil rights movement of the mid-20th century. Landmark legislation like the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, laid crucial groundwork. Affirmative action and equal opportunity 1970s through 1980s. This era saw the rise of affirmative action policies aimed at addressing historical inequalities and increasing representation for underrepresented groups. Yeah. Emergence of diversity and multiculturalism, 1990s. The focus shifted from mere legal compliance to recognizing the business value of a diverse workforce. Multiculturalism became a key concept emphasizing the importance of respecting different cultural backgrounds. Inclusion and globalization, 2000s. Globalization further highlighted the need for inclusive workplaces. The concept of inclusion gained prominence, emphasizing creating environments where everyone feels valued and respected. Expanding the equity, 2010s to the present. The conversation broadened to include equity, acknowledging and addressing systemic barriers that prevent equal opportunities. The 2020s, with increased social justice movements, accelerated the focus on DEI. Current trends. Currently, there are very strong political debates surrounding DEI, with some states passing laws to restrict or ban DEI initiatives. So it's as I said, these are the roots. DEI is just a new terminology. It's always been around. What it is it's the fight. It's the fight to say we want to get away from the white hierarchy. Because when you look at Congress, when you look at our media, when you look at who runs companies, it's not a true representation of America. Okay, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. White people always seem to somehow be at the top. Are they the best? Absolutely not. And I don't care who takes offense to that, because it's just the truth. We have an old saying in the black community how we have to work twice as hard to get half as much. That's true. That's been true historically. We don't get the recognition. We don't get the praise. Hell, half the time we don't even get the jobs. We don't get the promotions. We don't get any of that. No recognition. I personally, in my life, I have seen white people fail up. Fail up. I've seen it personally in my own life. There's nothing no one's going to be able to tell me otherwise. Right? So I really, did it again. I literally just got into the roots of this whole DEI thing, when it's essentially just fighting for people's civil rights. Why do we even have to make laws? Why do we have to make laws? Because people are not innately civil. It's not in everyone's nature to be that way. Just something to think about. All right, now I want to get into the opposition of DEI. I want to get into exactly why do people dislike DEI? I mean, I've already explained my point of view on it to some degree, but I'm going to play a clip of you all's favorite president, not mine.
We believe that whether you are a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, or an air traffic controller, you should be hired and promoted based on skill and competence, not race or gender. Very important. You should be hired based on merit. And the Supreme Court, in a brave and very powerful decision, has allowed us to do so. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have removed the poison of critical race theory from our public schools, and I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. I also signed an executive order to ban men from playing in women's sports.
You know, that was pretty rich of him to say that people should be based on merit, which I truly do believe. But that's not how things have played out historically in this country, which is why you've had to have things like the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act and all these other initiatives, executive orders and such that had to be passed or signed because of the simple fact that humans don't always act with merit. It's supposed to be a constitutional republic where you're supposed to follow the law. So the law is supposed to take emotion out of it. The law is supposed to take bias out of it. But it doesn't. And the reason it doesn't is because humans, imperfect humans, are supposed to be the conveyors of truth. We're supposed to be the tenants, the upholders of said constitution. An imperfect document being upheld by imperfect beings. Very rich coming from him. You know, this guy is a convicted felon. 34 counts last time I checked. But I guess he earned it. Did he really? I'm not insinuating anything, but you let your mind wander. So clearly he's in opposition to DEI. He's in opposition to these practices. Well, because, you know, in my personal opinion, the bastard's a white supremacist. I don't care who. I clearly don't like the guy. I didn't vote for the guy, you know. But I wanted to get into, how can I put it? I wanted to get into the opposition, the concerns, so-called concerns that people might have about DEI besides him. So I got into it. Concerns about mediocrity. A central argument revolves around the idea of mediocrity, the belief that individuals should be rewarded based on their abilities and achievements. Some people worry that DEI initiatives may lead to hiring or promotion decisions based on factors other than merit, potentially disadvantaging those they deem more qualified. Belief in equal opportunity versus equal outcomes. There's a distinction between equal opportunity and equal outcomes. Some argue that the focus should be solely on providing equal opportunities for everyone, regardless of background, and that any attempt to ensure equal outcomes is unfair or unjust. Fear of reverse discrimination. Some individuals express concern that DEI initiatives could lead to reverse discrimination, where members of majority groups are disadvantaged in favor of minority groups. Concerns about ideological influence. There are those who feel that DEI programs are being used to push a specific ideological or political agenda, and that these programs create an environment of compelled speech or thought. Misunderstanding of DEI concepts. Sometimes opposition arises from a misunderstanding of what DEI actually entails. Some people may associate DEI with quotas or other practices that are not necessarily part of well-designed DEI programs. Political polarization. Man, do we have a lot of that in this country. Currently in the United States, DEI has become a very politically polarized topic, with some political groups strongly in favor and others strongly opposed. This polarization can lead to people to have strong opinions about DEI that are more based on political affiliation than on actual concepts of DEI. Concerns over cost and effectiveness. Some people believe that DEI programs are too costly for businesses, or that they are not effective in producing the desired results. That last one I think is a joke. We blow through so much money in this country, I don't want to hear it. We waste money on a lot of things. Okay? Anybody want to take a look at our military? Ooh, that's taboo. Don't touch that. People that are opposed to DEI, again, like I said, or like it said, people are worried about reverse discrimination. Well, it goes back to what I said before. Historically, black people, people of color have been shut out of establishments. People have been basically denied to be a part fully of society. So it's pretty rich to hear that the so-called majority worries about, wait a minute, so now we're not going to be getting picked? Now they're going to be picking lower qualified people who you deem not qualified? Why do you deem them not qualified? See, let's get to the meat of the question. What truly makes them unqualified, especially if they have the same education as you or even advanced? What makes them unqualified? See, we don't want to have the tough conversations in this country because, you know, people are soft and sensitive. Let's talk about the real things. Let's talk about the historical events that have caused these laws to have to go into place in the first place. Majority of the time, we do not create laws for which there is not a problem. If murder didn't exist, there would be no law for murder. I could name it for 100 other laws. If these things didn't exist, we wouldn't need laws for them. We wouldn't need rules. We wouldn't need regulations. Speaking of regulations, these corporations and these businesses dumping all their toxic waste into our water supply. You don't think there needs to be regulations on that? You don't think the government needs to be involved in something like that? So you're perfectly fine with you and your family and your children drinking toxic water. You're fine with that. All you small government folks are a fucking joke. I can't take you serious because the government doesn't get so small when in regards to a woman's uterus. Now all of a sudden the government got to get involved in that. Oh, no abortions. Can't do that. Really? Why not? Because Lord knows when the child is born, and if the family is not financially able to take care of them, Lord knows y'all ain't gonna do it. Y'all don't support no programs to help the people. But you know what? I'm getting a little too far away from DEI. I need to swing it back. So with all that being said and done, now I want to talk to you about why DEI is needed. And for this one, I'm going to get some perspectives from some other people. So I'm going to play a few clips so you can hear it from their perspectives as well as not just mine.
Let me try to explain DEI for people who don't understand DEI, who don't like it. So to them, they think that all DEI means is that there's an unqualified woman or unqualified person of color who's given a job or promotion and they don't deserve it. When in actuality, all that says is that instead of doing word of mouth recruitment, instead of just hiring the usual suspects, we're going to look beyond and find qualified, talented people outside the usual suspects. That's all that means. So the people they hire are qualified. It's kind of like as if you went into a town and you never got the contract because you were new to the town. And then one day they say, you know what, let's let people who aren't new to the town have opportunities. And you finally get your big shot. And you know your quality of work is better than the people who are in the town who always get the bids. And because they decide to look beyond the usual suspects, you get a bid. That's all DI is. It doesn't mean you're not qualified. It just means someone opened up the door to give you an opportunity and chance. That's all it is. Get it? Got it? Good.
Here's why you need DEI. Because a lot of these organizations like Apple and like Google and like Meta already do these outreach type programs in predominantly white institutions. This is why most leaders in all of these companies are white. And so what happens when you have white leaders in a company? People tend to hire people who look like them. Don't take it from me. This is statistics. When you hire people who look like you, so a white man's gonna hire a white man, who do you think is in that white man's circle? Most likely other white men. So when they refer their friends into the companies, they're bringing in more white men, right? So this is how you create a non-diverse environment where you only have people of a specific subculture or whatever, and you bring them into this company, and now everybody in the company looks like you. There was a study done in 2020 where these two men put in like 70,000 job applications to these companies. One man used a black sounding name and the other man used white sounding names. Guess who got called back more for the same resume, essentially the same skills? Guess who got called back more? The man with the white sounding name, by a rate of above 10%. I don't know what names they used, but this is also my point. Now this is called unconscious bias. Think about this for a second. If people are likely to hire people who look like them, who do you think that Brad is gonna hire? Is he gonna hire Malik or is he gonna hire Chad? Forget about hiring. Who is he even going to interview? Now again, there's nuance. I'm not saying that every situation is like this, and we're in a world now where things have changed, things have evolved. So I would expect that a lot of people don't see it that way, but too many people still do. And if you want to deny that, you're lying to yourself, you're dishonest, you're lying to everybody else. Again, there's statistics on this. Don't take it from me. This is why DEI is important.
Is there anyone out there who can give me one benefit of the DEI movement?
I got you, and you can fact check me on this.
One benefit.
Therapy for veterans, so there's one for you.
One benefit of
Mother's rooms, so when you're a fresh mother and you have to pump your breast for your children.
give me one benefit.
Paid caregiver leave, so when a family member is about to pass away and your company says go home, we'll pay you while you see them away.
Give me one benefit of
Paternity leave, so when you're an expectant parent, you can actually spend time with your newborn.
can give me one benefit.
Disable accessible places and spaces, so think like elevators, wheelchair ramps, handicap stalls in a bathroom, even ergonomic like displays and setups for somebody who might not be able to do day-to-day activities. I have a friend who lost most of the use to his hands and his job requires him to type. So there's a screen program that clocks his eyes and goes to where he needs. So there's an example.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion is racist.
Hey y'all, hey, good morning. I just wanted to come on here real quick and say that if you think that DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion is about letting people of color, people with disabilities, and women get jobs they're not qualified for, you are probably the reason why we had to have DEI initiatives in the first place. Said what I said. Have the day you deserve.
It seems I can't talk about this without getting to a point where I'm screaming or yelling or sounding really freaking condescending. But it is just so interesting to me that I make posts about what's happening right now in education, what the Trump administration is doing and making decisions to punish states or to punish schools that don't fall in line with their fascist plan, right? So what are they doing, right? Literally 24 hours ago, they decided to put in act that if schools do not sign on board that they're not going to do DEI, there it is again, ooh, spooky, they're gonna hold funding. And if you think they're not doing this They're not going to hold funding from states. They're already doing it to the state of Minnesota, okay? They've already denied Title X funding. They're withholding $27.5 million from the state of Minnesota, right? This is how they're going to mess with blue states who didn't vote for Trump. This is what they're going to do, right? So if you don't get on board with DEI, which DEI, right? We talk about race, women, gender, the LGBTQ, people with disabilities, right? All of these things. So I am a Title I special education teacher. So if we sign on to this, I literally won't be able to talk about my scholars, about them, about their history, about people who might look like them or might have disabilities like them. All of that shit is not going to be allowed. And all you want to talk about, we don't want big government. We don't want big government involved in our education. It should be back to the states, back to the states. Do you guys have anything to say about this? I'm sure you're totally fine with it because you don't want big government involved in your schools. You don't want big government involved in you. But you know what? You sure love fucking with those blue states, don't you? You guys want everyone to be just as miserable and fucked up like the rest of you. But I'm the one spreading misinformation and lies. You guys are ridiculous. Please, for the love of God, if you comment on my posts and you say some shitty things, just know that I'm going to block you. Like, I don't give a shit what you have to say to me because I know that you're just some uneducated, probably boomer sitting at home being like, oh, fuck those kids. I don't like them. I hope they get nothing and I get more back on my taxes. You're not going to get shit, man. You're not getting shit. Those tax breaks, all these cuts are not going to you. They're going to go to the fucking rich unless you're sitting somewhere on an island. I hate to say it, pop, pop. You're not getting shit. All you're doing is fucking us all over in the end, and we're all going to pay for it. But it'll be too late at that point.
DEI is a racist agenda. It looks at the color of skin, not the content of character. Illegal aliens are just that, illegal. Alien terrorists don't get due process. Neither do, repeat, border crossers. Everything about this comment is wrong. Everything. But for this video, I'm just going to focus on this first part right here, because I've got my first of 2 jobs that I need to get by. You don't have any clue what DEI is. I'm just telling you that right now. You have absolutely no idea. You think it's just you have this set list of applicants for a job and you just pick the black person. No, that's not what it is. DEI is just that, diversifying, making equitable, and including everybody in your workforce. It's not having this set list of applicants. It's broadening your list of applicants so that you can actually pick the best person for the job. It's making the job position more available and more appealing for people from many walks of life. And it's not just diversity of race, it's diversity of everything. Race, religion, sex, gender. And that's good for businesses too. Why? Because having people from various walks of life, that gives different perspectives on how to solve various problems. It's diversifying your problem-solving pool so that, again, you can pick the best one, the actual best one. And it's making sure that everybody that works for you has the exact same opportunities for advancement. And it's including everybody in your diverse pool of people to once again pick the best path forward. So, just to reiterate, it's not you have this set list of applicants and you just pick the black person. It's diversifying your pool of applicants and thus diversifying your workforce, like putting more military recruitment centers in black neighborhoods. It's making sure that everybody in your diverse pool has the exact same opportunities, and it's making sure that everybody in your workforce feels included.
So I'm sure by now everyone knows, at least everyone in the higher education space, that the University of Michigan has removed all DEI programming. Our DEI 2.0 strategic plan has ended, and our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion will be closing as of today. Now, I have a lot of feelings about this, of course, but one thing that is frustrating me the most is that this was not necessary. Our president cited several of the executive orders that came out in January that were attacking DEI programming and protections within the federal government. And as we know, there have been subsequent continued attacks on DEI and related policies and legislation, but there has not been anything that has come out that has explicitly said that institutions of higher education are required to remove all of their DEI offices and related programming. I think that the things that have occurred at peer institutions, like Columbia losing a lot of funding, University of Pennsylvania, etc., has sort of startled Michigan to the point where we are now To the point where we have now succumbed to these authoritarian threats that are coming from the executive branch of the government. I'm most frustrated by this sort of anticipatory obedience because this is exactly what the federal government wants us to do. They want institutions and the individuals that exist within these institutions to be scared enough by their threats that we respond prematurely and that we are forced into compliance by fear. I think that this is the exact opposite of what we need to be doing. This is the time for us to reaffirm our values and our commitment to diversity, inclusion, equity, especially in education and in the sciences. This is a very new situation, so I'm sure there will be more updates today and as the weeks go on, but I just felt compelled to speak out about this. And we just have to do our best to keep fighting the good fight.
All right, you've heard some of their perspectives outside of mine. So now I want to build on what the last young lady mentioned, the last beautiful sister. She was talking about in colleges, about them getting rid of the DEI programs in colleges. So then I started thinking about affirmative action. So I'm going to break down about what I found about affirmative action. Affirmative action in the United States is or was a set of policies and practices designed to address historical and systemic discrimination against certain groups, particularly racial minorities and women, to ensure equal opportunities in areas like employment and education. That's one. Let's move on to the next one. The core principles of affirmative action. Active effort. Affirmative action goes beyond simply prohibiting discrimination. It involves taking proactive steps to identify and dismantle barriers that have historically disadvantaged certain groups. Addressing underrepresentation. The goal is often to increase the representation of underrepresented groups in sectors where they have historically been excluded or have faced significant disparities. Variety of measures. Affirmative action has encompassed a range of measures, including outreach and recruitment, actively seeking out qualified candidates from underrepresented groups, targeted goals. Setting goals, not quotas, through this distinction has been a point of legal contention to increase representation. Consideration of group status. In some cases, race, ethnicity, or gender were considered as one factor among many in hiring or admissions decisions. Training and support programs. Providing programs to help individuals from underrepresented groups develop skills and advance. Let's move on to the next one. This is from a historical context. Civil rights movement. Affirmative action emerged from the civil rights movement of the 1960s, recognizing that simply ending discriminatory laws wasn't enough to overcome the effects of past and ongoing discrimination. Executive orders. President John F. Kennedy first used the term affirmative action in a 1961 executive order requiring government contractors to take affirmative action to ensure equal employment opportunity. President Lyndon B. Johnson's executive order 11,246 in 1965 further strengthened these requirements. Legislation. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 laid the groundwork by prohibiting discrimination. Subsequent legislation and court decisions shaped the implementation and legality of affirmative action. Let's go on to the next one. Legal challenges and evolution. Reverse discrimination claims. As affirmative action policies were implemented, legal challenges arose, arguing that they led to reverse discrimination against majority group members. Supreme Court cases. Numerous Supreme Court cases such as Regents of the University of California v. Bach, 1978, Grutter v. Bullinger, 2003, and Gratz v. Bullinger, 2003, significantly shape the permissible scope of affirmative action, generally prohibiting quotas, but allowing for the consideration of race as one factor in a holistic review process for college admissions aimed at achieving diversity. Recent Supreme Court ruling, 2023. This is what jogged my memory about affirmative action. In Students for Fair Admissions v. Harvard and Students for Fair Admissions v. University of North Carolina, the Supreme Court ruled that race could no longer be a factor in college admissions, effectively dismantling race-conscious affirmative action in higher education. In the present-day context, a shift in approach. Following the recent Supreme Court decision, race-conscious affirmative action in college admissions is largely prohibited. Continued focus on diversity and equity. Despite the legal changes, many institutions and organizations still emphasize the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and are exploring race-neutral strategies to achieve these goals. Ongoing debate. The debate surrounding affirmative action and the best ways to promote equal opportunity continues in the United States. In summary, affirmative action was a set of government-mandated, government-approved, and voluntary programs designed to proactively address historical and ongoing discrimination against underrepresented groups, primarily in employment and education. While its most prominent form, race-conscious admissions in higher education, has been significantly curtailed by recent Supreme Court rulings, the underlying goals of promoting equal opportunity and diversity remain relevant and are being pursued through different means. So I did all that just to do a quick breakdown of affirmative action, because that got me to thinking about, when she was talking about Michigan University, it got me to thinking about HBCUs. And then I'm thinking, well, how did HBCUs even come into existence? I mean, I knew how they came into existence, but I wanted to do this for the video. Historically, black colleges and universities, HBCUs, were originally started primarily due to systematic racism and the exclusion of African Americans from existing institutions of higher education in the United States. Moving on to a continuation of this. Racial segregation and discrimination throughout much of American history, particularly after the Civil War and during the Jim Crow era, Black Americans were legally and socially barred from attending most colleges and universities that were open to white students. This was especially true in the southern states, where the majority of the black population resided. Desire for educational advancement. Despite the pervasive discrimination, African Americans deeply valued education as a means of social and economic advancement. They recognized the importance of having their own institutions where they could receive quality education without the indignities and limitations imposed by segregation. Empowerment and self-determination. HBCUs were not just about providing education. They were also about fostering a sense of community, cultural identity, and self-determination for Black Americans. These institutions became centers for intellectual discourse, leadership, development, and the fight for civil rights. Specific needs and curricula. Early HBCUs often tailored their curricula to address the specific needs of the Black community. Yes. Initially, many focused on teacher training, agricultural and mechanical skills, and basic literacy to help formerly enslaved people become self-sufficient and contribute to their communities. Over time, their academic offerings expanded to include a wide range of liberal arts and professional programs. Philanthropic and religious support. Many HBCUs were founded and initially supported by Northern philanthropic organizations, religious denominations, both Black and white, and the efforts of formerly enslaved and free Black individuals and communities themselves. These groups recognized the urgent need for educational opportunities for Black America. The Second Morrill Act of 1890. While the original Morrill Act of 1862 provided land grants to states to establish colleges, many southern states used this funding to create institutions that excluded Black students. The Second Morrill Act specifically addressed this by requiring states with segregated systems to either admit Black students to their land grant colleges or establish separate but equal institutions for them. This act led to the founding of several public HBCUs. In essence, HBCUs were born out of necessity in a society that actively denied educational opportunities to Black Americans. They served as vital spaces for intellectual growth, community building, and the pursuit of equality, playing a crucial role in the advancement of African Americans and the broader struggle for civil rights. This has been an ongoing fight. It's been an ongoing issue. It is literally the story of America. It is what America has always been about. No matter what they try to tell you otherwise, they want to muddy up the waters and cloud it with talking about the good that America has done, but we never address the grievances of black people. We never address the grievances of black people. In the Constitution, you are allowed to a redress of grievances from the government, but apparently we can't seem to get that. So what do black people do? They started building their own. They started making their own. We've always had that instinct in us to do our own. But the problem is, when we make our own, when you build our own, they don't let us keep it. And this time around, I think when we start to build our own this time, like if people really truly want to go and start segregation again, black people have to really defend theirs this time. We really have to defend our own. You know, just in the event that they want to come destroy it again. So I'm going to close out this video because it ran a little longer than I expected. I'm going to close out this video with, they're always changing the language. They're always, like, the goal, the initiative has always been the same. It's to keep us down. It's to keep them up. They want to stay in power. They don't want to relinquish power. Those in power, those that are always in power or that have ever been in power, never want to relinquish or lose said power. So they will do anything. They will come up with many tactics. They will change the language. They will change the strategies that they have to do to secure their power. And that's all it is. DEI is just the latest form of it. It's just the latest, any slander against DEI is what I'm talking about. It's just the latest form of that. And it's just our latest form of trying to fight back. Trying to achieve something that we've been fighting for, geez, quite a very long time. And America, just being a citizen, being born in this country, gives me the right to criticize it. Free speech doesn't just pertain to white folks, which allows me to have this platform, which allows me to say what I have to say here today. But America has a lot of work to do. And honestly, we need new people in charge. We need the government to be a true representation of what America truly is. It can't just be flooded with white people. I'm sorry, if you take offense to that, then take offense to it. We live in America. You have that freedom to be able to do that. We need a multicultural government. That's just my opinion. That's my perspective. You don't have to agree with it. And I'm not pushing some agenda here. I'm just giving perspective. A lot of people who feel voiceless feel the exact same way I feel. Black people are somewhat peppered into the government. And what I mean by that is, I'm talking about in Congress. Not many of us have any levers of power in this country. That's true for just about anyone else. Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans. When you look at the top, it's mostly white. That's got to change. And a lot of people are going to get upset about that. Oh well. Change is good sometimes. If you like this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you like my perspective, believe me, I'm going to be making a lot more videos on topics such as this. And on some videos, I may change the format a little bit, but you know, it's pretty much, you know what you're going to get when you tune into 1-7. So remember to stay safe out there. Love each other. Stay as peaceful as possible. And don't let the trolls get under your skin. Y'all have a good day or night or morning whenever you watch this. Peace out.